this is Nathan Ritz with the Greater Des Moines Partnership. I would like to start off by thanking all of our sponsors of this webinar. First, of course, the Greater Des Moines Partnership for allowing us the resources to put this on. Iowa Workforce Development for their facilitation of this and sponsorship, and also the Employers Council of Iowa, who is an organization that really works to make sure that we have these resources for our businesses and working professionals. I work for the Greater Des Moines Partnership. I am the Director of Talent Development and Workforce Inclusion. You should see my email up there. In the system, you're going to see me as M. Fitz, though, because I'm using one of my colleagues' logins. So just that way you can make sure that you have my email address should you have any questions or concerns. Your lines are muted at this point. You can communicate with me through the chat option or by asking a question, and I'll moderate those to both of our facilitators. We have two wonderful facilitators today that will be talking about the NCRC, but first I wanted to remind you that we do have another webinar coming up on September 10th. It's called Beyond Binary Gender Issues for the Employment Practices. So it's focusing on transgender employees in the workplace. So if that's of interest to you, go out to DesMoinesMetro.com/events and sign up for that. Our two facilitators today, our first is Craig Emmerfall. You can see his email address listed on the screen, and he is an executive officer with Iowa Workforce Development. And then we also have Kim Didier, who is from DMAC, and she's the executive director of business resources there. And they'll both be giving part of the presentation to you today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to answer those via the chat option. Otherwise, I will hand it directly over to Craig, and we'll get started.
All right. Thank you, Nathan, and thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. As business owners and HR human resource professionals, you have many issues that you deal with day in and day out. One of those issues are very central, and that has to do with your workforce. What do you need? Who do you need? How many do you need? What skills do they need? And sometimes, more importantly, when do you need them? Well, Skilled Iowa is a way for employers to find a higher qualified workforce. It's also an opportunity for job seekers or workers to upgrade their skills, and it's also an economic development strategy. Skilled Iowa in and of itself is composed of three pieces. There's the National Career Readiness Certificate, internship, and skilled communities. The next slide I was wanting to show you here has to do with job development, job growth here in Iowa. And as you can see, in the middle, we're looking at middle skill job growth. And that's been happening for the last few years, and it's going to continue to happen in the state of Iowa. Currently, 56% represent middle skill jobs, and if you look right next to that, 33% of the individuals actually possess the skills to hold those jobs. We have a huge gap here. Now, what is a middle skill job? A middle skill job is that which requires more than a high school diploma, but up to, but not including, a four-year college degree. So what is the National Career Readiness Certificate? Well, as it says there, it's a portable credential. And what that means is that if an individual from another state takes the assessment and attains a certificate, that certificate means the same thing here in Iowa that it did in South Carolina or Illinois. Likewise, it's portable out of Iowa to California or any other state that's participating in the program or in the initiative. And what it does is it certifies or documents an individual's level of skill in three different areas. And that also indicates their ability to perform and an increased ability to learn the job quicker. It's also a resource for employers, especially when they're making those hiring decisions. And as we'll look at a little later, it's a valuable component to job seekers' portfolios. And some of you may already have come into contact with some of the job seekers that have presented to you that they do have a silver or a gold or some other type of certificate. The three skills that make up the National Career Readiness Certificate, or the NCRC, are applied math, reading for information, and locating information. Now, these are three skills from a suite of skills developed by ACT, and those other skills that form the National Career Readiness Certificate, or the NCRC, are called work keys. Now, what makes these assessments different from, say, a test or an assessment that you take in college or in high school? Those tests in college or high school identify your level of educational attainment. What these tests are is they are applied tests. They're going to take that knowledge and have you apply that knowledge to work-related situations. For example, the applied mathematics assessment, they contain the dreaded story problems, and that's all they are. It forces an individual to problem solve and to think through the situation presented in front of them in order then to come up with the calculations to get the correct answer. And again, all of the story problems are work-related. The reading for information, which is basically a reading comprehension assessment, measures an individual's ability to read and then comprehend and to use that information. What they're reading are excerpts from memos, say company memos. They're reading excerpts from policy manuals or operations manuals. These could be in sentence or paragraph format, but they also could be in a formatted, say, in a sequence. So here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's what you need to do. Now actually apply it to that situation. The locating information is a little different. It's really kind of a broad assessment. It's working with or dealing with workplace graphics. The graphics that I'm talking about here are charts, graphs, forms, maps, diagrams, schematics, those sorts of things, and instrument gauges. So what a person is expected to do at the lower levels of these assessments, or at least of that assessment, is to find one or two pieces of information and then maybe add it to a form or to a graph. As you move up into the higher levels of competency, what you're getting now is you're not only finding information from multiple sources, but you may be trending, or you may be comparing, and in some cases, at the highest level, analyzing that information. For instance, if I call in and say to my department that I want to retire in a couple of years, and tell me what my payout is going to be. You have an individual that's looking at different screens, pulling different information to give me a report on, all right, Greg, here's what you'll have 2 years from now, and here's how it will work for you over the next 20 years, or whatever the case may be. So the locating information is a little different skill. And that one skill is usually the skill that trips up most individuals. And what I say by tripping up, it's so different. Reading and math are pretty common. We all studied those in high school, and we had some of that even in college. But locating information, a little bit different scenario. Again, remember, these are all applied assessments. These are all work-based scenarios. Now, the next screen here shows you an example of a score report. So an individual can earn one of 4 different levels of certificates. But what's important to you, a business owner or an HR professional, is this type of information. Because what it's giving you are skill characteristics that that individual has, and it's documented. You know, in most cases, when you look at a resume or an application, you're looking at a self-report. And obviously, we all want to believe self-reports are true and honest, but sometimes truth is stretched. This type of information is certified. It's documented. This is what they have. As I mentioned, there's 4 different levels of certificate. There's a bronze, silver, gold, and a platinum. Now, the individual has to take all 3 assessments. It doesn't have to be at one time. It could be at different times, but they have to eventually take all 3 assessments, or at least at that bronze level of proficiency. Now, for instance, if I scored the reading and math in the gold areas, but I really bombed out on the platinum, or on the locating information, and I got a bronze, how this works is that the certificate that I would achieve or attain would be at that lowest level, because I didn't prove all 3 skills that I could attain a gold level. My certificate would be bronze, so it's going to default to the lower level. And we have had people where they've scored 2 of the skills in platinum and then scored silver on the other, and unfortunately they did get a silver certificate. But what it does is it motivates an individual to come back and try this again.
That's a question that we have is how often can someone retest, or how often would you recommend for someone to retest?
They actually, a person can retest as many times as they want. However, my opinion is after that first time, if they didn't attain the certificate that first time, or if they scored very low, what we are going to have them do is we're going to have them work on a program called Career Ready 101, or Key Train. Now, Key Train is a self-study tool. It's internet-based, so an individual can study anywhere, any place. It doesn't time out. They move at their own speed. So when we introduce this to job seekers, we're going to tell them, look, if you haven't taken a test in years, or if you weren't very good at taking tests, or if you're scared of math, or you really want to know a little bit more about what is this locating information thing, let's get you involved in Key Train. Let's sign you up, let you study for a while, and when you're ready, and the system will assist you in telling you when you're ready, then let's try taking the test. Most people will just jump right into it. Now, after that second time, if they've taken the test, they try it a third time again. If they are going to have to do Key Train. If they still haven't attained a certificate, I mean, if they've got a bronze or silver, that is still an accomplishment. But if they haven't attained a certificate after a third time, I feel like we're dealing with more of a learning issue than what Key Train can work with them on. And my inclination is to refer them to DMAC or to another resource to help them with those types of issues. So yes, they can take it multiple times. I just have a hang up on taking it time after time after time after time. You know.
So would that Key Train resource be available to people who maybe have test anxiety and are scared? Like, for instance, I see math on there, and that kind of makes me go, oh, maybe I don't want to do that. Is that available to them ahead of time to maybe prep themselves mentally to then go in and take the exams?
Yes, it is. That's a good question. Actually, when they first start the Key Train modules, it will give them like a practice test or a pre-test. So they're going to get a flavor for what the test is like. It's not actual questions from the test, but it's similar. And then it's going to score them. It's going to say you scored at a level 4, which is a silver certificate. And it does sometimes help with that test jitters or pre-test jitters. Then what it'll do, the system will automatically launch into the most appropriate level of skill that the individual needs to study.
One more question, if you're going to get to it later. Looking at this screen, how does an employer determine what level of job seeker they'd be looking for on this gold, silver, bronze, platinum scale?
That's another good question. ACT does maintain an occupational database with thousands of jobs. I believe their database is right at about 17 or 18,000 jobs that have actually been job profiled or analyzed. Using job incumbents, there's a process that actually develops the level of skill required for that job, and that's the occupational database. So you could have accounting to machine operators in there, and you get a flavor. But that's a national tool. So we don't know if any of those jobs are from Iowa. There's another process that I've worked with employers on called the skill estimator. And the skill estimator, while it isn't EEO compliant, what it does do is it gives the company or the business an idea, here's the level of certificate I should be targeting for internal recruitment. So that process is available to employers. Now, I'm also very happy to say that DMAC is in the process of having an actual job profiler trained. So if a company wants to say, we require a silver certificate or a gold certificate, you can do that, and you will be EEO compliant. Okay. All right. So the levels of certificates, basically what that refers to there, for instance, the platinum, it says they're capable of performing 99% of the jobs. Again, those are jobs in that ACT occupational database. And if you go to act.org and just do a search for occupational profiles, that will take you directly to that database. There's benefits to a lot of different groups in the NCRC. One of them, obviously, is to job seekers. At the Workforce Center, we see a variety of individuals with a variety of skills, a variety of educational certificates or degrees. And what really seems to be going over well with job seekers is the NCRC. It's actually moving more word of mouth than it is in the traditional marketing in the community. They're finding people that are saying, hey, you need to go do this because this company here is looking for it, or this company here is asking for it. So adding this credential to their portfolio helps tremendously. But also, a job seeker can use this as a way to upgrade their skills through the Career Ready 101 T-Train program. What we're talking about here, you probably already realize this, these are basic skills, foundational skills. And the foundational skills are those skills that you build job-specific skills on top of. If you have sound basic skills, it's much, much easier to build those job-specific skills. So when I hear an employer say, you know what, just send me a person and I'll train them. Well, what I want to do is to be able to send that employer a person who they can train. And that means a person who has sound basic skills. And for me to know that means that I would like to have that person have or attain that NCRC. Now, the way that employers are asking for this, it's still a recommendation or a preference. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, so I'm going to stop with that and go on to the benefits for employers. Obviously, there's a number of them. Employers can establish skills standards for those entry-level jobs, internal recruiting targets, the screening benefits. One of the things that this certificate helps you with, and I've had a lot of questions on this, does it slow my applicant pool or slow down? Does it reduce my applicant pool? No. Why it doesn't do that is because what we recommend that employers do is they advertise their job openings wherever they advertise, either with us or in the paper, whatever the case may be, say that Career Readiness Certificate recommended or preferred. Tell people up front that you're asking for this. Now, this still gives you an out because it says preferred or recommended. You're not required to have a certificate as a job seeker. It's good if a job seeker reads between the lines and has one of these, but what they're going to do if they have it is we're going to tell them, we're going to coach them, put it on your resume, put it on your application, make sure that the employer knows about whether that employer is a skilled employer or not, or at least in terms of Skilled Iowa. The job seekers still can provide that information to the employer and talk to them about, here's what I did, here's how I got this. The other part that the NCRC can help with, especially for employers that say are targeting maybe current employees looking at efficiency production, is by using this as an assessment tool and then identifying identifying those skill gaps, and then using the Career Ready 101, Key Train, and or other DMAC services that would help improve the skills and efficiencies of those individuals. So how do businesses use this? You know, I've had questions, how do I get my arms around this? Well, it's just like getting your arms around reviewing a resume, reviewing an application. The information is there. You're looking at work history. You're looking at work experience. You're looking at educational history. Maybe looking at other credentials they may have. What you're seeing or how it's added, how you can key in on this is, again, knowing that that job seeker has a silver NCRC or a gold NCRC. What it does for you as an employer, as a hiring authority, it gives you more information about that individual than what you had before. And it's certified, it's documented. The other piece of this is it provides you with an assurance that they have at least a certain level of basic skills. And again, those basic skills are ones that help you build job-specific skills more easily. And it also, as more and more employers get involved in this, it also helps improve the workforce, because what you're doing is you're telling job seekers, we're asking for this. The job seekers now are being driven in to do this, which eventually affects that economic development piece within the state of Iowa. So the one thing I haven't mentioned yet, and maybe you're wondering, I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been any question, is what's the cost? There is no cost. There's no cost to the job seeker. There's no cost to the employer. There's no cost for the Career Ready 101 or Key Train. It's all being funded by the state of Iowa. And the tool itself has been widely accepted at both the executive level as well as at the legislative level. And we at Workforce Development have been asked, or actually been told, that you are going to fund this. So there is no cost to any of this. The last couple pieces, there's benefits to education as well as economic development. I've been visiting with many, many schools in the central Iowa region and talking to them about what are they doing to prepare the future workforce. What types of courses, what types of activities are they involved with in preparing our kids for the world of work? Whether you're going to college, hey, that may be 4, 5, 6 years down the road, but eventually you are going to enter the world of work. There's a lot of kids that are coming out of high school that are going right into the world of work, and then you have another large group that are going through the community colleges such as DMAC and entering the world of work. But it's all starting at the high schools. And the high schools that I've talked to are seriously interested, and many of them have already begun testing freshmen, juniors, seniors, and they've been giving the NCRC test to the individuals. They also latched on to the Key Train Career Ready 101 too as a tool for individuals to study, and even some schools have built it into their curriculums. The last piece for economic developers, which is actually the skill community. And it's a process whereby as test scores are added to, say, a zip codes database. Now these scores identify individuals who have this level of math, this level of reading, this level of locating information. And again, all those scores are broken down into skill characteristics. An economic developer can take this information and market their region or that zip code region to a potential new employer, saying, all right, here's our workforce, here's our commuting patterns, here's the type of educational information that we have about our workforce, but also here's the workplace skills that our workforce possesses. For a lot of economic developers that I've talked to, it's a very powerful tool for them, an additional tool for them in helping to sell their area, their region. With that, what I'd like to do is to turn this over to Kim.
I actually have one question
yes.
first, if you don't mind, and I'm going to try to translate this to the best of my ability. So if I do not get this question correctly, please feel free to message me again. The NCRC seems of great value to anybody that's searching for a job or preparing for a possible search. But someone asked if it could be of special benefit to those that are maybe re-entering the workforce or have been in a certain career for an extended period of time, and maybe they don't have anything recent on their resume, that this could be that extra boost of confidence, not only for themselves, but also for their resume. Do you find that as a valuable, or have you had any feedback in regards to that?
Yes, that is definitely valuable. We have a program within our building. It's called the Promise Jobs Program. This is Iowa's Welfare to Work program, and many of these individuals have been out of the workforce for quite some time. Some of them have been out of the workforce through no fault of their own. We have dislocated workers that come through our programs, through the WIA or WIOA now, that are looking for new options, new careers. And the way that this program is set up, it gives them an opportunity, yes, to add to their portfolio, but at the same time, there's a tool within KeyTrain where an individual can take the assessment, take some interest surveys, and actually hone in maybe on a new career, kind of steer them in a direction. And we do see a lot of people that say, you know what, I just let go from this company. I've been doing it for quite a few years. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. Maybe it's time for something different, but I don't know what that is. So this definitely is an opportunity for them too, and we've been using it in that direction. Okay. So what I'd like to do is give Kim the mic, so to speak, and let her talk about DMAC's involvement with us. And as she knows, and as I go out and talk about this project in many areas, DMAC is a valuable, very valued partner in the NCRC with us. So, Kim?
And I am seeing somebody from outside the Des Moines region on here, so just for clarification, DMAC is the Des Moines Area Community College here.
Correct, and this is Kim Didier. I oversee our DMAC business resources, and in lots of ways when I talk about what DMAC is doing in partnering with Skilled Iowa, Iowa Workforce Development, and the companies in our region, I have 14 other colleagues, if you will, in the community college system, of which if someone is outside of our DMAC region, I would highly encourage you to connect with your community college in your particular region, because many of them are doing very similar things in supporting the use of the National Career Readiness Certificate as we work with businesses to understand the kinds of employees they need and are looking to the community college system to help supply. So it's been a great honor that we've been working with Craig and those at Iowa Workforce Development and our business partners, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of different ways that we've been supporting the use of the National Career Readiness Certificate at really various points, if you will, in the process of preparing for employment, or again going and re-entering different employment opportunities. So as Craig talked about, many schools in the area, high schools, having students take the National Career Readiness Certificate, we have partnered with a number of school districts in our region to help facilitate that. For example, in Newton, we have a career academy, and for the last 2 years, the juniors and the seniors that are a part of the Career Academy at the DMAC Newton campus have tested and taken the National Career Readiness Certificate, and have been able to look at where they are, particularly if they're juniors, in evaluating their readiness for employment. And if they are juniors and are not quite where we need them to be for the employers in the area, we too have that tool, Career Ready 101, and the KeyTrain software to help our students skill up in the areas that they're not quite prepared for. So we've been working with school districts to do that and support that credentialing of our high school students as they come out of high school and may either enter employment right away, they may enter DMAC or another community college 2-year program, or they may go on to the 4-year, all of which the National Career Readiness Certificate gives them a good credential to move into any one of those pathways. DMAC has also been using it with our credit students, and particularly in some program areas of which we've received some grant funding from the Department of Labor, who really sees the value of credentialing and helping students build a platform of various credentials and industry-recognized credentials to help them show to an employer that they're ready to add value to that employment situation. So, for example, we have worked with our welding students, and as they come into the welding program, we have set up dates of which they can come and do the National Career Readiness Certificate, so that when they finish our welding program, they'll actually have that NCRC certificate, and many of them then have also an opportunity to have some credentialing or certificate from the American Welding Society, built on top of that foundational skills that Craig talked about that are identified through the National Career Readiness Certificate. So we're basically making that an offering for our credit students so that they come out with that credential as well. We're also using the National Career Readiness Certificate as we work directly with employers in identifying students in particular skill areas. And the NCRC has been used to help us kind of do some pre-assessment of individuals and if they're ready to go into technical training and have a great likelihood of being successful as they might then move into employment. So as we have cohorts of students coming in for some specific employer-supported training, that employers may then look to these students as potential hirees or future employers or employees. We've used that NCRC to identify which pathway students should go into. Should they go right to the technical training, or should there be some opportunities for them to do some refresher on math or other skills that are assessed through the National Career Readiness? And that's been a great tool to help us with that as well. And then finally, as Craig identified the Skilled Communities designation, and there are many within our DMAC region who are working towards that kind of designation as an economic development strategy. We have been partnering with the teams of leaderships in those areas. For example, we're working very closely with the community of Newton and Jasper County. They're having another NCRC testing event. Actually, it's on 3 days in September, 15th, 16th, and 17th, in which any individual in the community can come to our DMAC Newton campus and take the NCRC. I think the community still needs just about 80 individuals to take that test. And so we're hoping over that 3-day period that we'll have an additional 80 individuals take that, so that the economic developers of that area have a very good data pool in which they can provide information to prospective new employers coming possibly to locate in Jasper County, that the workforce is at a certain skill level and will be there for that company as they might locate in that area. So we've had an opportunity, a great opportunity, to partner in many different ways in support of the National Career Readiness Certificate. It is a very effective tool that really helps us understand how ready people are to go into an employment situation. How capable are they of taking what they've learned and applied it, and actually learned new and have the ability to learn new skills in that employment situation. Even so much that DMAC uses it as a recommendation, and I've used it even particularly in hiring for individuals in my department, that they have a recommended NCRC, and it was very useful even as I was doing my own selection, as another way of just seeing how ready somebody is to add value if you were to bring them into your organization. So we're happy to be a partner in this effort. We're delighted about how much momentum and progress that's being made, knowing that many of our businesses are using this as possible recommendation. As Craig mentioned, we just recently had one of our staff members trained as a NCRC profiler who is able to go into a business and help that business then assess to a level of which it can be then used as a requirement and is EEOC compliant to say this is really what I need, and to then use that as a hiring criteria. So with that, I'd be open to any questions as well as to how DMAC has been helping and partnering with Skilled Iowa, or how we might be able to help any of those businesses that are online and in the region.
I think there's actually, we'll see if a question comes in, but
okay.
Something in my mind, and forgive me if I'm getting something wrong or speaking out of turn, but there's an affiliation of DMAC with the Evelyn K. Davis Center and their youth employment program, correct?
Correct. Yes. We.
So I
yep.
know that I employed one of those interns this summer, and it was a wonderful experience for us. And she actually told us that it was the best summer of her life. But also, these students will take the NCRC assessment as well, and they've had fairly good results, in developing that future pipeline of talent as well, which I think is very important for us to consider, that we're not just trying to develop our current workforce, but the workforce that's coming towards us. And would you mind speaking a little to that to see if any questions come in?
Sure. Yes, we are a partner with the collaborative that has opened the Evelyn K. Davis Center. It's a great facility and resource right across from our urban campus, and one of our key programs runs out of there. It's called the Workforce Training Academy, that works with individuals to help them with career readiness kinds of skills, being able to show up on time, having the right behaviors that make you a successful employee, and then get you technical training. And this summer, you're right, we partnered with several other organizations as a part of the Des Moines metro area because of a recognized need to offer youth employment opportunities, particularly during the summer when they do have more time. There's not as much structure from the K through 12 system, that we work with employers to identify and place those students into great learning opportunities and exposure to career opportunities and exposure to expectations of what it takes to be a really good employee, and giving them tools and giving them credentials to not only show who might be offering them an intern, but to then, as they progress down their career pathway, that they do have those foundational skills that are recognized through the NCRC. So you're right. It's a tool that helps us really identify, no matter where you are in that progression of employment, to help you identify that you have those foundational skills, and if you don't, we have the tools to help you become proficient in those foundational skills. And then we have the pathways to build on those into other credentials and maybe other technical skills, or to move into other pathways, career pathways. So that's been a great, they had graduation, I think it was last week, and it was just a great success, and we're looking for more businesses next year who might be open to providing these part-time employment opportunities during the summer for students, because it is just a great learning experience for them. It's a great experience also for our employers to see prospective employees that they may want to keep their tabs on, and have opportunities for them once they're at that position in their own career. So,
thank you for speaking to that. I know it was a little off topic, but why we had an engaged audience. And
right.
We didn't have any questions come in, so I guess we'll hand it back to Craig. Correct?
Yep. Right. I have just a few other comments to make here. First off, how does a job seeker, or how does one attain a certificate? You can test at either the Workforce Center here in Des Moines at 430 Grand or any of the DMAC campuses.
Mm-hmm.
Statistically wise, I'll spit it out there, in Iowa, we currently have very close, I think we're maybe 100, 120, 150 short, close to 49,000 individuals, whether they're unemployed job seekers or currently employed individuals who have attained the NCRC certificate. 57% have attained a silver, 23% gold, 20% bronze, and we have about a 4% in the platinum range. The other thing is, with the businesses that have become involved with the Skilled Iowa or the NCRC, it's a variety of businesses. It's manufacturers, it's retail, it's the Hy-Vees, it's small little mom and pop shops. It goes from all sizes to all types of businesses. Again, just to reiterate, the use of the NCRC for you is very easy. For an employer, you ask for it up front or recommend it, prefer it. The individual makes you aware that they have this, and you now have an additional piece of information, a certified piece of information about their basic skills that you can consider along with their work history, educational experience, etc. You know, if you have two people who are equal and one has a certificate, one doesn't, you have a little more information about that individual. You have a little easier decision-making process possibly in front of you. How do you get involved, or how does a business get involved? It's very easy. Again, there's no cost for any of this. There's a one-page form on our website, and all it asks you to do is to recommend the NCRC in one or more, if you choose, of your jobs, and that you allow us to use your company or organization's name in our marketing efforts. So we add the businesses or the organization's name to our regional as well as our statewide list. That's it. Obviously, I would like to come in and just talk to you about some steps of implementation, but very, very easy to do, very quick. And I guess the next screen gives you a little more information about how you can do that. You can give me a call or send me an email. I will be honest. If you send me an email, I'm going to get back to you quicker.
All right. Is that all the information you have for us at this time?
Yes.
Okay. I will stall for some questions and give a couple of plugs. I will actually skip all the way back to our very first slide just so you can have all of our information. Again, this was sponsored by the Greater Des Moines Partnership, the Employers Council of Iowa, and Iowa Workforce Development. I would also like to thank our presenters, Craig Emmerfall and Kim Didier. Of course, they took time out of their schedule to help bring you this information. And we also have some of our Employers Council of Iowa members on the phone, including Kyle Horn with Manpower, who's our current chair, and then Marlish Jones with Iowa Workforce Development as well. So thank you both for joining the call. Our next webinar that will be brought to you by the Des Moines Partnership is Beyond Binary, September 10th at noon. It's Gender Issues to Employment Practices. Sorry, I couldn't read my handwriting. So please do sign up for that, DesMoinesMetro.com/events. And if we don't have any questions, I will close out the call. If you do want to share this information with someone, we will have this posted on the Des Moines Metro at Greater Des Moines Partnership's website, DesMoinesMetro.com. We'll have that listed there as well, so feel free to shoot me an email if you're having trouble locating that. It'll be underneath our resources page, and it'll be stored out there historically, so you can go back and access it if you missed one thing that he said and you really want to reference that or share it with some colleagues or other resources that you have. Thank you for spending your lunch with us, and we look forward to having you back for another one of our webinars. Thank you.